We had a party last night, and you might be wondering, Lawrence, why would you do that in the middle of the week? And it was to celebrate the fact that I've now lived in the United States for 17 years, and this is what you look like afterward. But it's not all bad, because while we were celebrating the night away, we had an idea for a video, and that idea was this. A video looking at 7 things that America does better than Britain. So if you like these sorts of cultural comparisons between our two countries and you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, do that now. In the meantime, here's the list. Ibuprofen, please. Pizza. I don't think there are any countries in the world that do pizza better than the United States, except for Italy. And over the years, I remember Americans asking me, Lawrence, do you have pizza in England? And the answer to that is yes. I have a distinct memory from being a child of eating a pizza from Asda that was themed around the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because that's what we called them there. But Britain doesn't have the variety that you find here. Before moving here, I'd heard of New York style pizza, didn't really know what it was, but I certainly wasn't aware that other regions in the US had their own varieties, and that in some cases these would be the better choice. I was speaking to my dental hygienist the other day, this is a real story, about how Detroit style pizza is my favourite style, and she agreed because she was from Detroit. And if you watch my most recent video, 7 Lies Everybody Believes About Chicago, you'll know that I recently devoured a Chicago style pizza, which is actually the real reason I just woke up. And if you missed that video, I've linked to it in the description, so now you've got no excuse. Now, I've maintained over the years that Detroit style is in fact my favourite, but that might give you the impression that I don't like Chicago style or New York style. No, they're both amazing. You know, people say America doesn't have culture. Well, it has pizza culture, and it's a fine, fine culture. And all of this talk of food is making me hungry. Can we go get breakfast? Yeah. Put cream on top of everything, don't you, in this country? I should state that these pancakes aren't for me, they're for Tara, and we're in the middle of lunch and I'm about to have a burger. And that's the thing in America, you can have breakfast all day at a lot of these places, so that's kind of what's happening, isn't it? It's true, I'm just going to say it. America does breakfast better than Britain, and my British viewers are probably watching this and thinking, Lawrence, how dare you? Have you forgotten about the sublime entity that is a full English breakfast? No, those are the singular greatest breakfast in the world, but they're just one thing. America has about 1,000 breakfasts. Is bigger better? Well, it can be if you like to experiment. You know, it was pancakes today, but sometimes it's a huge omelette, which America sometimes spells differently to Britain. Or it's one of about 8 million things with cinnamon on it. Or it's sausage, eggs, and bacon the bacon is crunchy, which blows the European mind. And just to go back to pancakes quickly, in Britain, pancakes, we eat those about once a year on Pancake Day. In America, they eat them every Sunday. They have a whole mecca devoted to it called IHOP, which is not an Apple product. It stands for International House of Pancakes. It's very popular. Also, British pancakes are probably closer to crepes than they are to American pancakes, so they don't look quite as impressive when you stack them. And even though they have been declining around the country, diners are a massive part of American culture and one of my favourite parts, depending on the diner. There was a sketchy one in Wisconsin a few weeks ago, but we're not going to talk about that. But contrary to popular belief, not even a YouTube sensation like me can eat out every day. On the other hand, the important work that I do means that I don't always have time to cook either. That's why I'm so glad I discovered Factor. Fresh, never frozen, chef-crafted meals that are ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Factor helps me stay on track with my wellness goals without the stress of meal prep or grocery lists or endless cleanup. They've got over 100 rotating weekly options, from hearty entrees to salads, smoothies, and yes, breakfast. And every dish is dietitian approved, made with real ingredients, no refined seed oils, no artificial colours, no nonsense. Personally, I've been leaning toward their new Protein Plus meals. Most have more than 30 grams of complete protein. Perfect after a filming day that involves far too much running up hills for B-roll. And because I'm not known for my patience in the kitchen, I love that I can actually just heat one up in 2 minutes. Factor even offers plans like Calorie Smart, Keto, and Vegan and Veggie, so whatever your goals are, there's something that fits. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code LITPFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code LITPFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. The link is in the description below. Optimism. There's a word in the United States that admittedly seems to be on thin ice at the minute, but in general terms, since I moved to the United States, I have been struck by people's optimism. Yes, the national news and social media might give you the impression that actually we all think the future is doom and gloom. But I'm talking about when you're speaking to people face to face on the day-to-day about their sort of personal life. And that can-do attitude that's often associated with America seems to have been taken on board by many of its people. Give us an example, Lauren. Well, a popular sports chant in this country is, "We believe that we will win." Wow! I mean, given that luck sometimes plays its part in sports, that's quite a bold belief to have. I spend most of my time watching my team thinking, we're going to lose this, aren't we? Because I am a Manchester United fan. But it was optimism and not Stanley Kubrick that put people on the moon. And I think it's infectious to a degree, although not to the degree that I've followed their example. Just happy for them. Which brings me on to our next entry. Americans are very good at celebrating the success of other people. Now, to believe this, I need you to pretend, it's my dogs, I need you to pretend that social media doesn't exist because it gives you a false impression. It makes you think we all hate each other, we all want each other to do badly. No, when you go out into the real world and people can't be anonymous, they're often outwardly expressive with their happiness about how their cousin got into college or their daughter did real good at harp. That, not my words, those are the words of Aunt Cheryl. Even if you're the sort of person that doesn't speak to others, you will still get a sense of this when you're behind a vehicle on the motorway and the car in front of you has a sticker that says something like, "My son is an honour roll student." I don't even know what that means, but I can infer from the entire situation that the parent is proud of that child and so puts a sticker on the car, which embarrasses the child. Still, we don't do that kind of thing in Britain. We don't want to let that person get too big for their boots. It's a simple, "Well done, lad. Now get in the kitchen and do your chores." And on a personal note, I want to say thank you to my American viewers who right now are typing something like, "Well done on 17 years, smiley face. You know one thing that America has that Britain can't hold a candle to? Road trips. And I say this as somebody who recently road tripped to the magnificent kingdom of Iowa. And some of you might be thinking, oh, I bet that was fun, driving through northern Illinois, the second flattest state in America, into Iowa, the most boring state in America. This sounds like it undermines your argument. And it doesn't, because despite the sheer nothingness around us, we still had a great time. And I think that's because America is imbued with this sense of adventure, especially when you get behind a wheel and you decide it's only a few hundred miles away, let's do it. And I think that's partly the key, isn't it? Because you know you have to drive such huge distances in this country, you have to be all in on the idea of the road trip. That you can't just say, oh, it could be a good idea, let's do it then, I suppose. You have to be excited for it. Otherwise, you're in for a very grim time. Whereas in Britain, I think some of the road trips that I took from, say, Grimsby to Manchester, it is fun, don't get me wrong. I mean, you have some good surroundings, but you are mostly just seeing it as a, an A to B. And in any case, I usually did that trip by train. That option's a bit less available to you in America. So in these cases, embrace the car, because in a lot of instances, you don't have much choice. But I think the major reason that road trips are superior in this country is more to do with this. The landscape. North America is just blessed in the looks department. And some of us who didn't grow up here might think, oh, so you have the Grand Canyon, Yellowstone, is that it? No, when it comes to national parks, they're just the most famous ones. They're the ones that get all the attention. But there are over 60 national parks in this country, and many of them are just as impressive, according to Wikipedia. Put it this way, remember at school when a teacher would do an experiment with the class and they'd ask all students in favour of this thing to stand on this side of the room and all students not in favour stand on this side of the room? Well, if you are the sort of person that likes mountains with trees, stand on this side of the Mississippi, and if you like your mountains without trees, stand on this side of the Mississippi. Just walk past a lot of flat land first. And if you like your mountains to erupt, go to Hawaii for Christmas. If you like rivers, you are absolutely spoiled with rivers that are sometimes brown but big. If you like deserts, go to the southwest. If you like Arctic tundras, come here to Chicago. But don't think about staying with me, because if you like Arctic tundras, you are weird. Jesus, I mean, in Louisiana, there are massive swamps, and this is seen as a good thing. People like them. So America definitely beats us on the vastness of its landscape, but nothing beats the vastness of home sweet home. And that's because, pound for pound, America does home space better than Britain. Now, I have a house here in the Chicago suburbs that I bought after the YouTube money came in, but it's fairly modest. You know, I wanted to stay a little bit in touch with the general public. But down the street, there are houses that are about the size of Asda, like 7 bedrooms, a garden the size of Rhode Island, and just huge gates that you cannot climb over. Believe me. And while those are a little too big, their sort of commonplace nature in this neck of the woods is a reminder that American homes in general do have more space to them. And that's nice. I like to occasionally get away from my worries. I was going to say my worries. And just sort of be alone on the other side of the house. And one thing that facilitates that is a basement, which is where I am right now. And that adds a pretty big chunk to your square footage. And in my case, to your sanity. So what do you think? Are there other things that America does better than Britain? Let me know in the comments below. And in the meantime, here are 6 British things that Americans surprisingly embraced. And until the next time, I'm going back to sleep. Good night.